Dr. E. Lakshminarayan Garu, Dr. E. Lakshminarayan Garu, Professor N.D. Bave Garu, Sri P.V.V. Satyavara Prasad Garu, Dr. Y. Venu Prasad Garu, Dr. A. Adepa Garu, Muniswamy Garu, Malika Garu, as well as all the participants of this one-day webinar on the topic Research, Innovation and Ranking. I welcome you all very warmly to this one-day webinar. It's indeed a privilege to be co-hosting this webinar along with Giriraj Degree College, Nizamabad, as probably this is the first webinar in this series. So I'm very happy that these two colleges have come together for this prestigious program. At the outset, I would like to congratulate the Department of Economics, the head of the Department of Economics, Giriraj College, Dr. Y. Venu Prasad Garu, and Dr. D. Muniswamy Garu, the HOD of Department of Economics, BJR Government Degree College, as well as both the IQC coordinators, Dr. A. Adepa Garu and V.P. Malika Madam Garu. This is indeed a very important program, and we are actually looking forward to it. I know that all of us are waiting to get into the program, but I would just like to make a very small mention of certain policies and principles behind this whole what do you call the new education policy, which I'm sure the others will be the speakers. The keynote speaker is ready to talk to us about it. But I would just like to make a point that as government degree colleges of Telangana state, as the head of the institution, as well as a teacher in this in a government degree college, it is the duty of each one of us to actually understand the new education policy and do our part in trying to take this motto of the 3 E's of the national education policy or new education policy, which is the 3 E's, of course, as we know, are educate, encourage, and enlighten. So it is our duty to take this motto to the students who are the primary stakeholders. So what do we do as teachers and administrators of government degree colleges? This is what every one of us has to ask ourselves. What do we do in order to take the new education policy to the students and see that it becomes a success as envisaged by the government of India? So what do we do? The very first question, this is what we need to ask ourselves. As many educators and responsible policymakers of the country have found out, these 3 pillars of the policy, the new education policy, the 3 pillars of the policy are research, innovation, and quality. It has been found out, and it has been researched and found out that India has advanced a great deal in 2 areas, that is research and quality. But then when it comes to innovation, there is something lacking. So what is it that is lacking is what the new education policy has tried to find out. So as a part of the policy, there have been one major problem that the policy has found out is that there is there's very less emphasis on research at most universities and colleges, and a lack of competitive peer-reviewed research funding across disciplines. So this problem has been addressed by the NEP, and maybe we can say that the solution which has been envisaged by the NEP is the establishment of the National Research Foundation, or what is known as the NRF. So what exactly is the NRF? I'm sure the key speaker will be talking about the NRF. But then the NRF is expected to actually pose some very important problems to the researchers so that they can find a solution to, they can find the relevant solutions to these problems in what is known as a goal-oriented and time-bound manner. So how do we do this? This is what the NEP is all about. And I'm very happy that we have with us the keynote speaker for today's program, who is actually going to address these questions, and all of you esteemed colleagues are going to talk about the NEP. So I'm really interested in looking at how government degree colleges will really address these problems. So as Giriraj College is one of the best colleges in the state, I can say that without any hesitation. And let me just say a word here to all my colleagues at Giriraj College that I had the privilege of working in your college years ago, that is in 2007. I was there for 3.5 months. So this college has all my respect and best wishes. I'm really glad that Ms. Swami sir has gone ahead with this program because this was a wonderful way of bringing in two institutions as so far apart at Nizamabad. One is at Nizamabad, the other is at Hyderabad. But then now that it is the age of technology, there's nothing to separate us, and we are all together in this very wonderful program, which is this one-day webinar. So without taking up much of your time, I would have wanted to talk about the NEP, but then we have very esteemed people and distinguished speakers here today. So they would be addressing these issues, and we look forward to it. So I take this opportunity to welcome each one of you to this webinar on behalf of Babu Jagjeevan Ram Government Degree College, Narayanguda, Hyderabad, as well as Giriraj College, Nizamabad. And I hope that this program will definitely increase your knowledge about this especially the topic that we are actually discussing today, which is research, innovation, and ranking. And we are also glad that we are a part of this discussion and debate on a very, very relevant topic. And I would like to thank each one of you who is involved in this program. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, both the IQAC coordinators as well as the head of the departments of economics from both the colleges and my dear colleague at Giriraj Government Degree College, Dr. Lakshmi Narayan Garu. So I thank you all, and I really hope and wish that we have a very informative and scintillating discussion ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam, for your excellent message, educate, encourage, and enlighten. Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Dr. E. Lakshmi Narayan, sir, Principal, Giriraj College, Nizamabad, to deliver his address.
Good afternoon to all. Is it audible?
Yes, sir.
Respected Professor M.D. Bavaya Garu, keynote speaker for today's webinar. P.V. Geeta Lakshmi Patnaik Garu, Principal, BJRDDC, Hyderabad. Mrs. V. Malika Garu, IKC Coordinator, BJRDDC, Dr. D. Aditya Garu, IKC Coordinator, Islamabad. Dr. D. Garu, participants and students, all on the occasion of this online national webinar on research, innovation, and ranking. I thank Professor M.D. Bavaya Garu for enlightening all of us on this extremely crucial topic of research, innovation, and ranking in the higher education sector in India. In the last years, India has made considerable progress in the world in the areas of innovation and entrepreneurship. India has moved up from 81st position to 52 position in 2019 in Global Innovation Index. Thank you.
Hello. Sir,
India's
not
only at policy and governance level, but also at intellectual property rights, innovation, these are instruments when we are envisioning development to go economy by 2025. For India to emerge as a global innovation hub, the youth of our country, especially in higher education institutions, need to play a crucial role to create a sustainable innovation ecosystem. Ideally, all higher education institutions should have a comprehensive and functional mechanism to convert research into innovations. This ecosystem will encourage inspire and nurture young students by exposing them to new ideas and processes, resulting in innovative activities in their formative years. I thank the IKC of both colleges for organizing a wonderful and excellent and relevant webinar, and hope that as individuals and institutions, we will strive to reach the expectations of the new education policy and in transforming our institutions into centers of research and innovation in the coming years. Lastly, I am very thankful to MD Bavaya Garu, Muniswamy Garu, and Dr. PV Geeta Lakshmi Patnaik Garu, and VV Mallika Garu, and my IKC coordinator Adeppa Garu, and UGC coordinator Varaprasad Garu, COE Dr. Y. Venuprasad Garu, academic coordinator Dr. Sriram Garu, and all the faculty members of my college and BJR college. Thank you, Manandal.
Thank you very much, sir, for enlightening us on the importance of innovation hub and the innovation ecosystem and the research in the colleges and higher educational institutions. Thank you. I would like to explain the backdrop of this seminar. As we all know, in accordance with the core values of the NAAC, contribution to the national development and fostering global competencies, these core values are possible if their importance is given to research, innovation, and ranking. As NAAC has said that education plays a vital role in the development of any nation, developing the innovative and entrepreneurial mindset through co-curricular activities that are related to innovation, entrepreneurship, and certain short-term certificate courses and skill development programs, it can be made possible. And learning and research are very important for knowledge gaining and to develop innovative practices. So to imbibe the research culture in the higher educational institutions and also to develop the innovative ecosystem through industry, academia, innovation practices. Through this only, we can contribute to the development of the nation and foster global competencies. So against this backdrop, we have identified this area, which is very important for all the higher educational institutions, so that they can encourage the students by providing them innovative ecosystems, centers in the college, so that the inner potential of the students can be unleashed. So we thought the IQAC of Giriraj Government Degree College and BJR Government Degree College came together to throw a light on how to improve this research, innovation, and ranking of the higher educational institutions. And so with these few words about the introduction of the webinar, now I would like to invite Dr. D. Adeppa sir, IQAC coordinator and assistant professor of economics of Giriraj Government College, to deliver his address on new education policy. Sir, welcome to you.
Okay, it is audible?
Yes, sir.
You are audible.
Good afternoon to all. Respected Professor MD Bavaya Garu, keynote speaker for today's webinar, Dr. PV Geeta Lakshmi Patnaik Garu, Principal, BJR Government Degree College, Hyderabad, Dr. E. Lakshmana Garu, Principal, Giriraj Government Degree College, Autonomous Nizamabad, and Rafiq, Vice Principal Garu, Varaprasad, UGC Coordinator Garu, and Mallika Garu, IQAC Coordinator, BJR Government Degree College, and Dr. D. Muniswamy Garu, and all my esteemed colleagues, participants, and students. I heartily welcome you all to online national webinar on research, innovation, and ranking. Knowledge creation and research are critical in growing and sustaining a large and vibrant economy to uplift the society and inspire a nation to greater heights. Today, the criticality of research is paramount for the economic, intellectual, societal, environmental, and technological health and progress of a nation. Research in the arts and humanities, along with innovations in the sciences and social sciences, are extremely important for the progress and enlightened nature of a nation. Despite of this critical importance of research, the research and innovation investment in India is at the current time only 0.69 of percentage of GDP, as compared 2.8% in the USA, 4.3 in Israel, and 4.2 in South Korea. The societal challenges that India needs to address today, such as access for all its citizens to clean drinking water and sanitation, quality education and healthcare, improved transportation, air quality, energy, and infrastructure, will require the implementation of approaches and solutions that are not only informed by top-notch science and technology, but are also rooted in deep understanding of the social sciences and humanities and the various social, cultural, and environmental dimensions of the nation. Research and innovations at education institutions in India, particularly those that are engaged in higher education, is critical. Evidence from the world's best universities throughout the history shows that best teaching and learning process at the higher education level occur in environments where there is also strong culture of research and knowledge creation. Conversely, much of the very best research in the world has occurred in multidisciplinary university settings. The new education policy envisions a comprehensive approach to transforming the quality and quantity of research in India. This includes definitive shifts in school education to a more play and discovery based style of learning with emphasis on the scientific method and critical thinking. This includes career counseling in schools towards identifying the student interests and talents, promoting research in universities, the multidisciplinary nature of all higher education institutions, and the emphasis on the holistic education, the inclusion of research and internships in the undergraduate curriculum, faculty, career management systems that give due weightage to research, and the governance and regulatory changes that encourage an environment of research and innovation. All of these aspects are extremely critical for developing a research mindset in the country. The first noteworthy point is that new education policy provides for a research ecosystem under the stewardship the National Research Fund. It aims at providing the required inputs to grow the agenda by way of building of research ecosystem comprising the government, universities, research institutes, and industry to build on these various elements in a synergetic manner and to thereby truly grow and catalyze quality research in the nation. The policy envisions the establishment of a National Research Foundation. The goal of the National Research Foundation will be able to enable a culture of research to permeate through our universities. In particular, the National Research Foundation will provide a reliable base of merit-based but equitable peer-reviewed research funding, helping to develop a culture of research in the country. Though suitable incentives for unrecognized of outstanding research and by undertaking major initiatives to seed and grow research at state universities and other public institutions where research capability is currently limited. The collaboration between academia and industry envisioned by the new education policy calls for a patent policy structure at the university levels to facilitate more patent applications. Such a policy will safeguard interest of all the entities involved, provide for a research environment, and ensure compliance with the national laws and regulations. A larger number of patents with commercial benefits will serve as incentives for continuous and sustained efforts in research. A third aspect to consider is that new education policy emphasizes a multidisciplinary approach in education and the need to nurture a curious and creative mind with a view to develop analytical and critical thinking abilities at an early age. These are the skills essential for framing the right research questions and for bringing about the required relevant outcome solutions. This approach will therefore be instrumental in giving a meaningful thrust to research and innovation, serving as at another significant harbinger in the long-term and sustainable research endeavor for India. Some of the innovations listed in the new education policy, they are every classroom shall have access to the latest educational technology that enable better learning experiences. Faculty stability will be provided in an appointed institution with generally no transfer to other institutions. Faculty members get curriculum and pedagogy freedom within approved framework. Faculty fast track promotion system for high impact of research contribution will be offered. Focus on achieving sustainable education development goals. Gross enrollment ratio of 50% by at the year of 2035. All PhD registered students should take one subject related to teaching curriculum development and accept teaching apprenticeship for enhancing teaching skill. All students should be encouraged to take Swayam online courses, at least 2 courses per semester. Creation of virtual labs along with Swayam and Diksha to support MOOCs education. Annual education expenditure of India has to increase from the current 4.43 of GDP to 6% of GDP in India, especially. The focus on effective self-governance and outstanding merit-based leadership, appointment at a board of governance of highly qualified, competent, and dedicated individuals have proven capabilities and a strong sense of commitment of the institution. Focusing is on the building digital infrastructure, digital content, and capacity building to keep pace the tech generation expectation. Other innovations like stress on networking with industries and other higher education institutions for research and collaborations. Focus on creating intellectual property rights and improving stakeholders' perception are also suggested. Higher education is an important asset in deciding the economy, social status, technology adoption, and health human behavior in every country. Improving gross enrollment ratio to include every citizen of the country in higher education offering is the responsibility of the education department of the country government. National Education Policy of India 2020 is a marching towards achieving such objective by making innovative policies to improve the quality, attractiveness, affordability, and increasing the supply by opening up the higher education for the private sector, and at the same time with the strict controls to the maintain quality in every higher education institution. These transformations will start from the academic year 21-22 and will continue until the year of 2030, where the first level of transformation is expected to visible. Hence, the Indian higher education system moving from teacher-centric to student-centric, information-centric to knowledge-centric, mark-centric to skill-centric, examination-centric to experimental-centric, learning-centric to research-centric, and choice-centric to competency-centric. I hope, hopefully, we in government higher education sector will gear up for the task ahead and reach the heights as envisaged in the new education policy 2020. Thank you and all.
Thank you very much, sir. You have excellently explained us about the importance of research and innovation. And as you have rightly pointed out, yes, knowledge is not compartmental. So in accordance with that, new educational policy has envisioned a holistic approach through multidisciplinarity and interdisciplinarity of all the social sciences or sciences. And you have also rightly pointed out about the importance of National Research Foundation that is constituted to imbibe research culture into the higher education institutions. And also thank you, sir, for explaining about the importance of digital content and how the new education policy will have a paradigm shift from teacher-centered to student-centered and information-centered society to knowledge-centered system and examination-centered to skill-oriented system. Grateful to you. Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to invite Srimati Shanti Madam, Assistant Professor of Political Science, Babu Jagjeevan Ram Government Degree College, Narayanguda, to introduce our keynote speaker, Professor M.D. Bavaye, sir.
Good afternoon to all. I deem it a privilege to introduce Professor M.D. Bavaye, presently working as Professor of Economics at Sri Krishnadevaraya University, Anantapuram. Sir did his PhD in Financial Economic Development by the Government of Andhra Pradesh. His areas of specialization in economics are public finance, quantitative methods, and development economics. Sir has 29 years of vast teaching experience. Sir has international experience as Associate Professor in Economics at Addis Ababa University, Ethiopia, and he's also a team leader for the World Bank funded research project. Sir also takes classes at Central University of Andhra Pradesh, Anantapuram. And sir has published many articles and books. I welcome you, sir, to this webinar, and I request you to deliver your lecture. Thank you.
We are happy that we are our guest today. We are glad that such a great huge research experience working with World Bank with us. We are waiting for your enlightened lecture, sir.
So this is an important occasion for me to join with you again, both colleges and meeting all the friends online. So the present topic is research innovations in modern technology leads to the development of multidisciplinary research. If we go back to the history, a well-known Nobel laureate in economics, Gary S. Becker, long back in 1980s, identified the need for innovative research and also multidisciplinary research. But after 30 years, we are now trying to struggle with innovative research. The government of India, in its new education policy, which was announced 1 year back, is trying to mobilize the experts in different fields for provoking to take up innovative research activities. And also provoking all the degree colleges as well as universities to start 1 week webinars on different topics related to new education policy. And all of us are busy with that webinars nowadays. So when it comes to innovation, we have to go back to our another great economist, Joseph Schumpeter, who coined the word innovation, particularly related to industrial development. So any innovation leads to development of a new field which has a specialization and which promotes the growth-oriented policies. So because of that reason, most of the economists of the 20th and 21st centuries, they are trying to innovate new ideas with the help of World Bank and UN organizations, and started their thought-provoking lectures for the development of humanity. Based on that, the human development concept cropped out, and sustainable development concept is ruling nowadays. So all these human development concept and sustainable development concepts have developed by keeping the need for developing human resources. Because the human resources with skills and knowledge can create wonders for the development. So when the skills are properly developed among the younger generations by the experts among the senior generations, then there is a possibility for having qualitative education and gaining the skills. The theory is this, but what happened in most of the universities and also the degree colleges, the staff, particularly the senior research staff, are continuously retiring, and there is no new recruitment in the place of retired teachers. So because of not having new recruitment for a long period of time, there appears a gap between the generations of teaching community itself. So there is no chance for the young generation to gain the knowledge from senior generations, because after retirement of senior generations, the young generations are going to join in the universities and colleges. So there is no chance for even sharing the ideas, getting solutions for the doubts, particularly in research field. In the case of teaching, there are so many textbooks, we can read multiple number of times to get the knowledge and disseminate the textbook knowledge to the students. but there is a need for dissemination of practical knowledge. And that practical knowledge will come only with the experience, particularly the practical exposure to the society in different spheres of life. And linking the economic knowledge, not only economics, any subject knowledge with the society leads us to develop new areas of the subject. So, like that, the science and technology can improve day by day by importing the knowledge through international subject textbooks. But digesting that knowledge becomes a difficult nowadays because the younger generations have not been able to concentrate much on the studying the well-known textbooks. They want spoon feeding and they don't want to do hard work. So when they are not interested to do hard work and trying to develop their knowledge by doing hard work and referring many textbooks which are available online and also offline, but they want to have spoon feeding from their teachers. Whatever the teacher gives notes, they will just read that notes and go for the examinations and they will forget it. So this is a clear-cut generation gap. Even almost all of us who are in the webinar now, mostly are teachers, and we have the understanding capacity of the problems of the new technology to digest first. But the young generation is not interested to digest that one. The senior generations are struggling to get acquainted with the new skills and to do their duties by using the modern technologies. But at the same time, the students' behavior is not up to the mark. Because nowadays we are teaching online education system, and while teaching, we have adopted how to use the modern technologies through laptops or even mobile phones, if laptops are not available. Then we are able to adjust with the new technologies, even by force by the government institutions and the directives and policy changes. But our students are not up to that level. Adopting new technology is easy for the younger generation. They can use the smartphones and computers for chatting with their friends, but not with listening of the lessons and learning things. So this is a very big specific problem in terms of online education nowadays. So in the reviews with our education ministries and other sectors, we are able to come out with the problems on the online education system. So when this is the big problem to face, how come about the research? The research scholars also are away from the teachers, that is research supervisors, and they are not able to meet even on the phone to have some discussions on their research works. So it shows that there is not a innovative interests among the people. Even when we want to make some exposure to the students to go and search for some books and other things. So they are unable to go. 1 minute. There was power failure. Because of the problems nowadays, the innovative research needs software skills. We have to adopt so many new developments that are coming in the international level. For research nowadays, we have so many softwares. SPSS is one software. Excel formulas is another software. Then R is another software. eViews is another software. Statistica. So like that, there are so many softwares developed at international level, and the utilization of these softwares becomes a big problem in our education system, because most of the teachers are not aware of these softwares, but there is a need for learning and disseminating the information among the younger generations. So the present teachers, they have to download the required knowledgeable textbooks and softwares from the internet. Then we have to go through ourselves and acquire the essential knowledge from those softwares and try to use that softwares into research field for estimation of many models. So these softwares are actually the integration of statistics, mathematics. In the case of economics, economics also, which is called as econometrics. And these softwares are useful not only for economists, but for many other social science subject fields, and also the physical sciences, biological sciences subject field. The statistics and mathematics are the same principles. They are the tools used by many specialized subjects. So the tools are developed, but the developed tools are to be digested by our generation and make our younger generation to go through them and try to train them and get the better research results. So in that case, the latest curriculum development at the national level through new education policy has made the experts to come together and prepare the curriculum of each and every subject and prepare the course structures in each and every subject by incorporating the industry related fields and the knowledge related fields, and also interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary subject fields. So because of this inclusion of many subjects which are related to a particular field, they can come across with new developments, new ideas through their research, and that new ideas will become the base for innovations both in industry and non-industry sectors. So because of this reason, the present government, when it came into power, they started a slogan of developing upcoming entrepreneurs by giving some incentives for their new ideas in the form of startups. So startup is a new entrepreneurial activity based on their own thinking and innovation. And once that innovation is presented in front of a subject experts, if it is approved by the experts group, then it will become an innovation. So the new idea framed by a group of people or an individual will be approved by the subject expert committee. And then if it is approved as per the standards given by the skills at international level, and if that knowledge gives the possibility for implementation in real life, then it will be called as an innovation in that particular subject, and they can permit them to start their entrepreneurship with that idea of new innovation. So the new innovation will develop the startup industry. If that startup industry once succeeds, then it will become small industry, big industry in latter. So that is the process of development. So the ideas were there among many young generations, because we have a skill development center in our university, that is Sri Krishnadevara University. We are inviting through that center new concepts, new ideas for development of either agricultural activity, horticultural activity, or industrial activity with new technological innovation and adaptation. So some scientists, through their research, they have developed some new concepts, and that new concepts they have applied for the patent rights or recognition from the skill development center to make it as a concept for startup industry. So the government of India is providing the financial assistance and technical assistance for that particular center. And for the last 5 years, we have seen so many innovative ideas in many sectors of the economy. So once we provide some facilities, the experts, they will prepare the new proposals. They will come up with new ideas for development of innovative knowledge proposals for implementation purpose. So even in our research in universities, if the government provides sufficient projects for the existing staff and the upcoming new staff, linking with staff in degree colleges who are having PhD degrees and having some years of experience and are interested for the research development, then there is a possibility for making more innovations in each and every subject. framing the new concepts which creates the development-oriented projects. So once development-oriented projects are coming up and approved by the ministry, then they can give funding for the implementation of those projects by the concept providers themselves. So their own concept they can implement according to their wishes with financial assistance. And once they are succeeded, then that becomes a thought-provoking project and rule of thumb for other people to follow it. So such type of innovations are needed nowadays. Because of that, there are so many institutions like DST, Department of Science and Technology. They are providing much fund for the science subjects and the technological subjects for attracting more innovative projects from young generation. In the case of social sciences, we have two major research institutes, that is ICSSR and UGC. And these centers are funding the new projects, and they are now providing the financial assistance for the projects which have multidisciplinary approach, or at least interdisciplinary approach between two subject fields, not a single subject field. So they are encouraging the people to come together, sit together, think together, and prepare a proposal which is possible for implementation with the concepts of two or more subject fields as an integrated approach. So such type of multidisciplinary researches are needed nowadays. So there are so many concepts like good governance nowadays. The good governance is called as the new area of public administration or political science, but it is also a new idea for economics and rural development, because the governance is not only linked with political leaders, it also linked with economic activities and also the rural people development, urban people development, like that. So good governance is a concept of multidisciplinary nature. Political science, economics, sociology, rural development, or even history, they can say historical evidences on good governance. So like that, many, in the case of suppose chemistry, you can find so many linkages between art subjects and chemistry. Chemical sociology, which is most popular in many countries of the world. So sociologist with chemical knowledge is needed to assess the social impact of chemical industry. So the economist with economics knowledge for any industry is needed to examine the economic impact. So similarly, there are integrations between many subjects, not only in social science field, but also in physical science field, biological sciences as a group, biotechnology, biological sciences, biochemistry, Then there are so many polymer science is also a combination of physics and chemistry. So like that, new developments in both science and technology and also social sciences and even in commerce and management have been coming out. So tourism management, travel management, hotel management, all these are the new concepts that were developed by the innovative ideas by the human resources. So if we properly link up the human resources in different subject fields through multidisciplinary research, then there is a possibility for the development of new subject fields which are linking with the subject knowledge. Suppose environmental economics. So environmental chemistry is there, environmental botany is there, environmental zoology is there, like that environmental economics is there. So all these subjects are linked with environment. Even environmental sociology is also there. So like that, so many subjects are coming out with the integration of science and the social sciences. So the innovation in the research field leads to development of new subject field as a specialized field for a particular activity. So like that, if the people are specialized in a particular specialized field with linking science and social sciences, physical and natural sciences, or biological and physical sciences, then there is a chance for development of new industrial activities that needs the people for the development and which makes the sustainable development of the human resources. So in that direction, there is a need for developing programs in the curriculum level. So there is a need for development of new and modern subjects at curriculum level and train the new generation in modern technological innovations and new subject fields where there is a demand for them for gaining employment opportunities which are gainful. So earlier, our governments mostly concentrated on the ICT facilities, information communication technology facilities. So they have developed so many engineering colleges, and now the available posts are very less than the graduates from engineering colleges. So the new upcoming posts are minimum, but the coming out or passed out candidates are in multiple times. So there is a competition over even software engineers nowadays. So they are deviating from ICT to the general administration like IAS Group 1 fields. Recently, we had an interviews for APPSC Group 1 mock interviews with AP Study Circle. When I was one among the resource persons, I have observed out of 32 candidates I have interviewed, almost 28 are from engineering background. So non-engineering background is only 4. So that means the non-engineering general candidates are not able to compete with the engineering graduates even in the competitive examination. So this is the situation. So when that is the situation, we have to follow new courses, provide new employment opportunities for the people. So when there is employment opportunity linked to the new course structure, then automatically people will prefer for that position and they try to develop their own skills. So in such a way, industry employment linkage courses are need to become as the base for the new education system. So the innovative research should also needed to develop new course curriculum by mixing the course structure with the industry needs and also the big data analysis nowadays. In each and every industry, the big data analysis is a must. The data is generated throughout the world, and the data utilization for all the fields of subjects, both sciences, arts, commerce, management, all are linked with the industrial activities nowadays. So all the industrial activities have data sources, and all the subjects have to use this big data sources to prepare the new research models. Based on those new research models, they have to give some policy implications by linking the proper variables with their so because of that reason, we have a need for development of new and innovative subject fields, both at undergraduate level, postgraduate level, and also at the research level. So this is about my opinion on innovative research linkages. But when it comes to the new education policy, they are not only thinking about the innovative multidisciplinary research, but also thinking about qualitative research. So the quality is more important than the number. So in the case of quality, we have been observing the researchers in the young generation have adopted copy-paste or cut-paste methods for their MPhil and PhD programs. Now, MPhil is already completely closed down, and only PhD programs are going to be taken up. But even for that PhD programs, the young generation should come forward to take up real life research activities, to visit field and collect field data, and based on field data, they have to develop their own model in each and every subject, either for experimental purpose or for analytical purpose. So they have to develop a research activity by linking their theoretical foundations in each subject with the practical implementation of those theories. Then find out what are the problems, then find out the solutions for those problems through their interactions with the people. Interactions with the subject experts, interactions with the beneficiaries in the government fields or in subject fields. Then finding the problems faced by many people in many sectors, then try to find out the solutions for those problems is mostly need of the hour. So when it comes to the quality, it is the duty of our teachers also. We have to force them to do their research work on their own. And we have to motivate them to do research work on their own. Then only they will get the knowledge development. Then they can disseminate that knowledge to their students or to the humanity where they are living. So like that, not only innovative researches are needed, but within that innovative researches, qualitative researches are mostly needed nowadays. So by linking quality in research with innovation, we expect that the development of education system will go to a new standards which is comparable at the international level. Then only our human resources will gain demand in other countries. Otherwise, they will become wasteful products without any employment. So, if they want research and employment, they have to conduct their research activities on their own with their innovative ideas and do qualitative research. And the qualitative research will give enough knowledge and skill for the people. Then they will become demanded products in the employment scenario. So this is about the innovative research needs and the quality innovation which are needed. Even the government of India through UGC and Science and Technology Department have made so many measures to control this copy-paste activities by making compulsorily following the research ethics and plagiarism checks for each and every research topic, research paper, research idea. So by following all these measures, the government is trying to control the plagiarism and trying to provoke qualitative research in general field. So if we follow all these measures, if we adopt all these measures strictly, then there is a possibility for quality improvement in the research as well as in the human resources of the country. So once quality of human resources improves, automatically the economic development improves. There is a strong positive correlation between quality of the human resources and the economic development of a country, which were the results of many studies in the international level. So with this, I think the time is up for your timetable, fixed agenda. So I thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to share with you my own ideas on innovative qualitative research, which is needed. And if there are any queries, I'm ready to hear, or if there are any supplements for my ideas, I will also accept them. Now it is for the audience to respond.
Okay, dear participants, please ask any doubt or queries or assets or any supplementary value additions on the research and innovation. Please, you can involve in the discussion, not like a doubts.
I think Munuswamy, there is no response from the audience.
Yeah.
Friends.
Yes.
So
Yes.
this is our the research. So the research will come to a qualitative nature only when there is a discussion.
Yes.
When I was giving a lecture in Manipur University in the last week,
Yes, sir.
the discussion was very much. The lecture was only half an hour, but the discussion went on 1 hour.
Oh.
1.5 hours.
Yes. Yes.
So they have more interest on that is Central University, Manipur University, and they tried to interact as much as possible. And it took me to give the clearances on those topics. That was on the social exclusion and inclusive policies in India. So,
Yes.
since tribal people, Manipur is a tribal state. Most of the people are in tribal groups. So most of them have their own doubts, and they need comparison with South India and the Manipur. Manipur. So they have raised so many queries on different tribal communities. So that was the interaction which is needed. I have also gained so much of knowledge from their interaction because we were able to compare the Manipur tribes with Andhra Pradesh tribes.
Yes. Yes.
And their activities and our own tribal activities. So in the discussion, more points came out higher than the lecturing.
Yes, sir.
So that was the condition. So since this is the UGC conditionality and the time is also up to the evening and the closing hour, I think. So because of that closing hour, most of the people are ready to go to their homes from the offices.
Sir, I have one doubt, sir. I am Mallika, Assistant Professor of Public Administration from Babu Jagjeevan Ram Government Degree College.
Okay, madam, welcome.
Sir, as you have explained, sir, my research topic is on governance, sir. I have done my research in Center for Economics and Social Studies.
Okay.
Amirpet, so it's an ICSSR institute, sir. So actually, recently I have submitted my PhD.
Okay.
Sir, what were your guidelines? For example, I want to publish some articles in Scopus Index journals or Web of Science. So how to write a qualitative article which reaches the international standards? So what we should develop, sir?
If we want to meet at international standards, you have to follow some methodology, particularly involving a model, some research model.
Okay, sir.
With some simple mathematics, regressions and correlations.
Regression correlation, okay. Sir.
Regression correlation and some Hausler analysis based on your cross table.
Like t-test or
t-test is also there. If you have more number of variables, more number of rows and columns,
yes, sir.
then t-test is not suitable. You have to go for chi-square test.
Okay, sir.
And there are some other new technologies are also there. Analysis
yes,
of various techniques and Hurfinthal index. Like
yes,
that,
sir.
there are so many techniques are there.
Sure.
If you want to publish at international level in a standard journal,
yes, sir.
we have to follow some principles and steps given by the journal itself.
Yes.
So you can download the model paper from them and follow that model paper. And they can say the research questions or research hypothesis to be tested by the statistical tools, they will say. So without statistical tools and without hypothesis testing, they will not accept for publication.
Yes.
Analytical papers will not be published at the international level. They need a model.
Yes.
And the model should have hypotheses.
Yes.
And those hypotheses are to be tested with statistical tools. and the statistical tool results will be discussed properly.
Yes.
We need a particular subsection discussion. So
Yes.
at the time, in that particular discussion section, we have to compare our statistical results with the theory.
Yes.
So whether theory holds good or not,
Yes, sir.
that we have to prove.
Yes, sir.
Even the theory may be disproved.
Yes, sir.
That disprovement will be with the
Yes.
statistical measures, with the statistical tools. So all
Sir.
theories may not be proved.
Yes.
Data. Some theories may be disproved.
Yes.
So even in that case also, we have to say, based on this particular data, the theory not holds good.
Yes.
So discussion we have to make.
Yes.
Then that gives an added advantage for the quality of the research paper. So that is needed.
Sir, for these international journals, is it good to go with the primary data or secondary data? Does it make any
We
difference?
will
Sir?
accept both the primary based articles or secondary data based articles, but there is just need for strong
Argument.
mathematical and statistical tool implementation. That is more required.
Okay.
So if you want to have an idea, you can go through the World Bank research papers,
Yes. Sir.
even IMF research papers, World Bank research papers.
Yes, sir.
They will use the simple statistics, but not sophisticated.
Yes,
But
sir.
they will compare the theory with simple statistics,
Okay. Thank you very much.
proved or disproved. And
Yes.
discussion is more important.
Yes, sir.
Based on discussion, we have to give some conclusion. If there is a problem identification or research gap identification, we have to indicate that there is a need for further research on this particular problem.
Yes.
So if you add that particular note, there is a need for further research on the specified gap,
Yes.
then we will accept it.
Yes, sir.
And if you have an your own idea how
Yes,
to
sir.
overcome those problems, particularly in your case governance problems, how to overcome governance
Yeah.
problems,
Yes, sir.
you have to include your own ideas how to overcome it in the form of suggestions. So then they will publish it. Such type
Yes.
of simple systems we have to follow.
Yes.
I have seen some of the journals which are publishing without conclusion.
Yes.
So they are mostly based on money oriented. If we send money, they will publish it, and the
Yes.
article will not have conclusions,
Yes.
not have suggestions, not have models. So
Yes.
even if you send an abstract, they will publish and they will take money.
Yes.
Such type of journals are also there.
Yes.
Because of such type of journals, the quality of research is going up.
Yes. Yes.
So if we want qualitative research, we have to follow some standard research methods, and we have to follow some standard research journals. Then even sometimes they will send it back for modification with comments.
Yes.
So the referee comments, they will not give us the referee name,
Yes.
but they will give us the comments made by the referees and
Yeah.
ask us to modify the paper based on that comments. So
Yes.
such type of journals, it will take some long period for publication.
Yes.
So 2 to 3 revisions are needed,
Yes.
but it will come out with the good quality, and the publication in that journal also have a quality for publication process.
Yes.
So you will have weight in your publication.
Yes, sir.
That is there.
Yes.
Any more?
Any more questions? Please. If you don't have any questions, we will go for the conclusion. So once again, okay, any more questions? Okay, then I think okay. Sir, thank you very much, sir, for giving an elaborate lecture on this research, innovation, and ranking. So, thank you, Madam Malika. Madam, continue next the program.
Now I request, thank you very much, sir. You have excellently enlightened on how important are the human resources. Human resource is one which is with the knowledge and skills that can lead to the development of the nation. And you have excellently explained us about the important multidisciplinary approach with an integrated way, where we have chemical sociology or governance, economic governance, or environmental governance, one of the interdisciplinary areas. Thank you very much. You have brought out the importance of ethics in research, which is really the need of the hour. Thank you for enlightening us, sir.
Okay, ma'am.
Now I would like to I request Dr. D. Muniswamy, sir, Assistant Professor of Economics, to propose a vote of thanks.
Okay, madam. Thank you. So, thank you, respected Principal Dr. P.V. Geeta Lakshmi Patnaik, madam, Principal Bijar Government Degree College, Narayanguda, and also respected Dr. E. Lakshmi Narayana, sir, Principal Giriraj Government Degree College, Autonomous Nizamabad, and Vice Principal Radhika, madam, Bijar Government Degree College, Narayanguda, and both IQAC coordinators of both colleges, V.V. Malika madam, Bijar GDC, and Dr. D. Adyappa, Government College for Autonomous, Giriraj Government College for Autonomous Nizamabad, and all the participants, very good evening to all. Today, we are happy to organize this type of the national webinar on this particular topic, that is research, innovation, and ranking. Is giving by more important government of India and the state governments in the part of the new educational policy. So in the part of the new educational policy, the governments are giving more priority for the multidisciplinary subjects, and the government is trying to promote the research and trying to promote the innovative activities through entrepreneurial development cell, and to promote the industrial development in the name of the startup program and all. So in this regard, to organize this type of the webinars, that too by collaborating with both the colleges. So one of the prestigious colleges in the state called Giriraj Government College, Autonomous Nizamabad, and also one of the important colleges in twin cities, that is Bijar Narayanguda College. So today we had elaborate discussion with our resource persons, particularly Dr. D. Adyappa garu and Professor M.D. Bhavaya garu, given the elaborate aspects and given many aspects for us to encourage the research and innovation things in our government colleges particularly. And they also focus that what type of the importance are we have to give in the part of the national education policy for the research innovation, and what type of the problems are facing these government colleges, particularly the younger generation, when the when the experienced faculties are continuously retiring. So when the younger generation, how they are facing the problems of this research and innovation, how they are going for the cut and paste policy, and to stop the type of activities, how the government was started this plagiarism and all this. So all this type of elaborate aspects was given by our Professor M.D. Bhavaya sir, and how through research and innovation, and through innovation as the startup, through startup, how the industrialization, and how the industrialization, the economic progress of the country will be there. So all this type of the link up was developed by Professor Bhavaya sir. So for historically, India, we have a rich in the research. We know that in the historically we have many research on the arts, humanities, science, medicine, in the mathematics. We know that in many books, our ancient people, they developed many concepts of this one. But in the modern days, as Dr. Radhappa sir told that only some of the countries are giving more important for the research. But in India, so the research investment is very, very less. As said, Radhappa sir, only 0.69% according to the new education policy, where some countries like Korea, Japan and USA, they are giving more than 3 or 4% or 5% investment they are doing in the GDP for the research and investment. So that type of the encouragement also needed in our country also to promote the research and innovation. So in this regard, our resource person given the elaborate experience they enlightened us. So definitely, so we definitely all the faculty members who are the participated in this group, I think they got some knowledge on this particular aspect, sir. Thank you for giving this elaborate lecture on this national abroad today. So today, Dr. D. Radhappa sir, very thank you, IPS coordinator Nizamabad, and Professor MD Bhavaya sir, keynote speaker. So he given the elaborate speaker. Thank you very much, sir, once again. And particularly Dr. Gita Lakshmi Patnaik, Madam, Principal BJR GDC, and Dr. E. Lakshminarayan sir, the Giriraj Government College Autonomous Nizamabad principals, the both principals. So they given the permission to organize this type of the webinar to encourage to motivate the students and in the research activities. So thank you very much to all these people, and thank you all, Dr. Mallika Madam, Shanti Madam, Radhika Madam, and Radhappa sir, Venu Prasad, and Varaprasad sir, who given the permission for this one.